What's going on, YouTube? Let's talk sliders. In fact, let's talk Edelkrone sliders. Which one is right for you? The wing or the slider plus with all the target modules and action modules? Stay tuned. We're gonna find out. What's going on, YouTube? My name is Ty Turner, former Army combat photographer and a creative director here at Flash Film Media, and we're going to talk about sliders. We're going to talk about Edelkrone sliders. And let me start off by saying this. Edelkrone has not paid me to do anything for them. They have not supplied me with anything. The only demo that I have, which is this here, which is the mini slider, was provided to me when I purchased this slider as a demo. They have a program where you can order demos to certain things once you spend a certain amount. So once you spend a certain dollar amount, they give you credit to rent or test out some of their products for free. So they pay for shipping and everything. So I went and I rented the Wing 3 just to see how I liked it compared to my regular Slider Plus. Now, let's talk about the Slider Plus. There's no way you've been looking for a slider for the past year and have not seen this thing on some commercial advertisement. I'm sure you've seen knockoffs on Amazon, you've seen all kinds of things, but this is the real deal. And this is the extra large version. It's pretty big. I like to do big dramatic slides. That's just me. When tripod mounted, it slides about 34.5 inches. When table mounted, it slides about 17 inches. One of my favorite features is the fact that if you're sliding towards something, the slider actually gets out of the way compared to most traditional sliders. If you're tripod mounted, it gets out of the way, which is a good thing because it's hard to do those type of shots if you got a 42-inch slider and you're trying to slide away from something without seeing the slider in the shot. So you don't have to worry about it with this. And that's one of the things that makes it unique and one of my favorite sliders. It's light. Some would consider it compact, though I don't consider it compact enough. In fact, the only reason I don't take this with me on most shoots is because it's large. And once you add, modules and things like that, it becomes larger. But we're gonna get into that in a minute. That's another great thing about this is the fact that it can be motorized. And you have your action module here, which I use standard LP E6 batteries, Canon batteries from my Canon days, to power this thing. And you get about 2 or 3 hours per battery out of this thing. So you add 2 batteries on it, you're good all day. And those batteries are dirt cheap. So I got a ton of them from when I had 5D Mark IIIs, 5D Mark IIs. I just kept a ton of them because I knew I had this module. So what's great about the target module is it has a few different modes. It has simple slider control, time lapse, stop motion, and macro videography mode, which is great because if you have a macro lens and you want to focus on something and you want a very, very minute move, it supports it without going crazy like other sliders will. You can get a very slight move, and that's great for something like stop frame animation, or if you just want to take a really close video of a fly on a leaf, if you can get it set up and all that before the fly flies away, it's perfect for that. Let's talk about the target module. And the target module does just that. It allows you to lock on its subject while your slider's moving back and forth, and it'll keep that point of view while your slider's moving. So when would you ever use something like that? Interviews. Haven't you seen interviews where it locked on a person and the background move? It's perfect for that. That'll give you a little bit more dynamic shot and add some really good production value to your talking head shots. And like I said before, when you're in corporate America, a majority of your work is talking head shots. So if you can offer something more than they got the last time they bought video from some other guy, that's great. That'll help that client be a returning client. This module can support 11 pounds horizontal and 22 pounds vertically. So camera-wise, you got a lot of room for your FS5s, maybe your C100s, things like that. Maybe some of your Blackmagics, maybe not Ursa Minis when you got a lot of stuff on it, but you can probably strip them down. Mostly DSLRs though. Anytime you're filming with a DSLR, these are perfect for them. And small to medium-sized cameras. You can also use the L bracket to get some really interesting shots. The L bracket is sold separately, but if you're doing a lot of product shots, you may want to look into it. So The pros to this setup, in my opinion, is if you have a lot of larger production where you have time to set this up and utilize it. And normally on higher end projects, you'll have that time. Most cases. Some cases you just don't. And this is good for special effects because it's motorized and you can repeat your shot over and over and over again. And your ability to repeat that shot is priceless when it comes to motion effects. You can do all kinds of things with this by using the action module and the target module and just having it repeat the shot over and over again. On their website, they'll show you 10 different examples of things they do, having the ability to repeat that shot over and over again. And it's something you just can't do with a traditional slider that you're moving by hand. Now, the target module is very simple. You pretty much point to your subject, measure the distance between the sensor and your subject, and you enter that information inside the target module, and it'll move and determine how it needs to turn to keep on your subject. The action module is pretty simple as well. All you do is input the information as far as how far you want to slide, how fast you want to slide, and your ramp speeds, and it figures everything else out. What's great about it is it also has a time-lapse mode where it can trigger your camera to take pictures after it moves. You'll enter the information telling it how much you want it to move, and it'll figure everything else out and trigger your camera, which is great because you can get some really interesting time-lapse photos with this thing. And because the batteries last forever, especially on time-lapse mode, you can sit it there probably all night and get some really good shots. The great thing about both of these modules is it takes out all the guesswork. You just enter what you need, it'll figure the rest out. And I think that's why this line is so popular. And a lot of the newer sliders are starting to do that. I've noticed that with the Rhino and a few of the other newer sliders that can figure out everything for you. So once you set it up, you set it and forget it, and then it'll do everything for you. So let's talk about the Wing 3. And this was the first version of the wing design that Edelkrone released. And off top, let's talk about what's special about this particular slider. One is it's very unique. It looks like nothing you've ever used before. In fact, when you first see it, you're like, I don't see how that's gonna work. But when they show you, when they show the animation and they show it from above and they see it moving back and forth, and you're like shocked the first time you see that screw and that camera stay along the same line. You're like, how is that possible? But it works. What's great about this is look how little it is. You can leave it on your tripod. It is a part of your tripod. And now your tripod is always a slider, which is great. You always have the ability to add movement to your shot. The only downside about this, and it's only one, is the amount of weight this supports. And I rented this and I'm like, I don't have nothing that I could really use on it. I tried to use my A6500, but after my cage and a lens, it's tough. It's tough to get a smooth shot with this. So it's not bad. You just make sure you get the right one for the camera that you got. This will be great for point and shoots and for cell phones. So if you're shooting with your iPhone or something, you can pop this on it and boom, look how little this is. I can put this in my pocket, go on a trip, slap my cell phone on it, put it in 4K and get some dynamic iPhone shots. It's perfect. Its bigger brother here, which this is the 15, it's quite heavy. In fact, the 15 weighs 4.4 pounds compared to this one, which is 1.3 pounds. Now, what's amazing is they both slide the same distance, which is 1.3 feet. The difference with the 15 is you have a lock here, so you can lock it before you slide it. So it's stuck into place. So why would you purchase both? Why would you purchase a slider one and a wing? The only reason my normal slider is not with me on every shoot is simply because of the size of it. I don't want to carry that big thing with me everywhere. But this can go almost in a lens slot in my hard case, pop it out, add it to my tripod, and I'm good. And because of the design of this slider requires a lot more tripod than a wing. And why, you say? Simply because your tripod needs to be as wide as this can extend to. So your tripod legs need to come out that far to prevent tipping. And that's a pretty long slide. Like you have to have, if you have a standard tripod, that's not one of the larger Manfrottos, you have to extend it and make it pretty wide to get a stable shot. Whereas the wing, you still have to extend it, but not as much. So, I mean, look at the size difference. I mean, which would you rather put in your bag? And this has a nice hard case to go with it. It's great. I love it. And there are times where I really need to use this. But for the most part, again, the number one reason it's not on every shoot is the size. Whereas this is going with me everywhere. In fact, it'll be on my tripod even when I don't need a sliding shot. The fact that it locks means that when I'm not using it, I'm not thinking about it. And what's great about these also is down here you can control the tension. So you can control how hard or soft it is to turn. It's different getting used to working with one of these if you have a slider. It's different. Yes, it is different, but it's worth it. So when it comes to sliders, let's talk a little bit about why it's important to have a slider in general. A slider will add more production value to your kit than almost anything you can purchase, with the exception of better audio and light. Adding movement to your shot helps a lot. And if you are looking to grow your business, if you're looking to bring on newer clients and have better video, you have to have a slider these days. Gimbals and all of that are cool. Gimbals are cool, but they do not replace a slider. A lot of people think if I got a gimbal, I don't need a jib, I don't need a slider. Gimbals do not replace sliders. Point blank, period. You need both. And I still think you need a jib. I still think you need a slider. And the gimbal can add to those, but it does not replace those. Nothing beats a nice reveal shot with a slider sliding from behind something to reveal maybe the front of a building or the sign on your client's building from behind a tree to open up and start your video. Nothing beats that. So you can do it with the gimbal, but it's a lot smoother and a lot better with a slider. So I would say invest in a slider. Now, you don't have to go Edelkrone, you can go whoever. These are just my personal favorites based off using a ton of different sliders. And in fact, this has become my favorite slider, period, right now. And like I said, because it solves my number one pain when it comes to using a slider, and that's the size of it, being compact, having to carry it, put it together, go through all that. I don't have any belts to worry about. Whereas with the other slider, I have belts. And sometimes in transit, the belts pop off or get loose. I just don't have that to worry about with this particular slider. So it works for me. Now, this one is going back to Edelkrone because, like I said, I got it as a demo. I liked it so much that I went out and I purchased this. And in the description, I'm going to post some places to get refurbished Edelkrone sliders. And I want to say I maybe saved close to $200 off the new price for this. And it comes from Edelkrone. It comes wrapped in plastic. You wouldn't even know it's refurbished or used unless it had the sticker on it. Like there wasn't even, like now I have a ring here showing a little wear, but there wasn't a ring there or anything. I think I may have had a slight mark somewhere around the bottom, barely, and I went looking for it. And it was barely there. So it's as close to new as possible. You save almost $200. These are normally $649 brand new. So you save almost $200 off of it. So I'm gonna ask you to do what I ask you to do in each and every video. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. You got questions about these sliders? Post them below. I would love to answer them for you. I would love to have that dialogue with you guys. That dialogue keeps me going every week. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next week.
Flash Film Media. Inspired by passion. Driven by results.
You can probably do something crazy where you can connect two of these and get a triple. I wonder if you can do that. That's a good idea. I need to see if I can connect two and get like an extra long, crazy slide. But yeah.